You've reached Katy Cooper and Ginger Hawn Cooper, the Determined Genealogist. She's pouting because I took this picture away from her because she was messing with me. This is my mom, and this is part 2 of her story of finding her birth family that became her journey and became my journey also. Enough. Kids, what do you do with them? Make them sit here and listen to stories of their ancestors. Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk about Mama's birth siblings and what I know about them. What I found out. One is Arnold Clyde Brandt.
Why am I stepping on you?
He was born in 1916. In the orphanage records, it says father unknown. There's Mama again. June.
Not upside down.
June Bell, or June Eva Rice, as that was her birth name. And Arnold was her oldest brother, and the grandparents helped raise him. And then there was Frances McGilly, and that was Mama's sister that was 7 years older. And she is the one that kept looking for Mama and looking for Emma. And Frances was at the orphanage. She was lent out a couple of times, but it didn't work out. Frances had a lot of trouble with other people because she thought her mom was going to come get her, and it was really hard for Aunt Frances, I've been told. And the thing with Frances is that she ended up back at the orphanage, and then she met a fella when she was 15 years old, and when she was 16 years old, he kidnapped her. I shouldn't say kidnapped, because he got her out of the orphanage, and they went back to Meeker, where he was from, which isn't that a coincidence? And his family took her in, and then they ended up getting married when she was a little bit older. And she married a Mobley. Jim will kill me. I'm glad you don't have YouTube or the internet. I can't say that name right. But they ended up having, I think, 12 children. They had a lot of children.
Bathroom.
Hi, we're back. Katy had to go to the bathroom. Anyway, we were talking about Frances, and she looked for her sisters. There's several letters that she wrote to the orphanage looking for them. Now, they went looking. She heard that one of her sisters was named had a restaurant in Rifle, Colorado named Charlie. And she looked there, but when she looked, whoever it was gone, and no one knew about it. Now, she was the second child that went into the state custody. The other one was Emma Louise or Frances Wright. Her mom was named Emma. Her grandmother was named Emma. They did the whole dad thing. They did it. She was born on September 22nd, 1920 in Meeker.
I'm taller than you.
You are taller than me. You want to hold this for me so I can read it?
I want to read it.
Well, I know what I'm reading here, okay?
I want to read. Yeah.
Well, I'll let you read something, okay? How's that? How's that for a deal? Okay, in 1930, she was adopted out, and she's listed on a census with John and Mary Della Trout. They lived on 44. That's Mama's medal for winning a pistol competition. My mom was pretty talented. They lived on 4455 Osceola, Osceala Drive, Denver, Colorado. And in 1932, they moved to Oakland, California. Emma's name was changed to Martha A. Trout. In 1939, she is listed by herself in Oakland, California, and she is living at 369 East 26th, Oakland, California. That's the last record I have of her. I can't find a marriage record or anything else. So maybe she was Charlie that came back to Colorado. I don't know.
What can I do?
And then, of course, my mom, June Eva Rice, was born June 5th, 1924. All right. All right. Then, after the kids were taken into custody, they were taken in August 1925. Emma had another child named Perry Hawn, and she listed him as Rice in 1930 census. All right. Now, when Perry got a Social Security application, he went under the name Walker, and I found his father's name was J. Walker, and he died. He was in a motel. He was a coal miner, and he died cutting himself with a beer bottle. Heart. So Perry lost his dad at a very young age, and then in 1934, Emma married Andrew. Well, she married him at 31. But in 1936, she still attempted to get her kids back, and the only one left was Frances. Arnold, the grandmother, had gotten him back, so the only one left was Frances, and she tried to get her. But they investigated, and the husband, Andrew, didn't want Frances. And I found that letter in the orphanage records, too. Emma was very sick at this point. She had TB, and in 1936, she passed away with TB at the age of 39 years old. Perry became a foster son in 1940 and was living in Oak Creek, Colorado, which is close to Steamboat Springs, and he's listed as a foster child. And then he ends up getting okay, we'll get you something to eat here in a little bit as soon as we're done with the video, okay? He ends up getting a Social Security application, and he puts Con J. Walker as his father on it, and he puts Emma Rice as his mother on it. And he's listed that at this point as Perry Con Walker, is the way he's listed. He was 5'9", brown hair, and hazel eyes. He goes into the military. He ended up dying in Sandoval, New Mexico in 2003. He had children. His wife's name was Patricia Ann. I've tried to contact him. I found his obituary, but they haven't got a hold of me, and they don't know who I am. They might think I'm some kook looking for money or something. I'm just wanting a picture of my grandmother to see who my mom looks like. But we've not found it yet. But anyway.
Excuse me.
Now, all right.
Excuse me.
Okay. That's right. Learning manners.
Accidentally did a little bird.
Oh, she's crossing her legs like a lady, which I'm proud of her. Okay. What are you reading? Katie wanted to read some of the documents. Okay. This is a transcription of my mom's grades. Do you see where it says voice over here? No. Mom went to 2 colleges, Simpson and then Drake University. She got her bachelor's degree in teaching. But she also took voice. And she was in a spring show, and the New York Opera Company offered her, they sent her a letter, my older brother saw it, of where they said she could come train with them. Now, Mama could sing 2 octaves, higher and lower soprano. She could do everything but break glass. She was, in my opinion, she was every bit as good as Julie Andrews, except she couldn't break glass. And she sang throughout her life. I don't know where she got that from. She also got bad eyes, real bad eyes. She had to wear trifocals. She got diabetes. She had high blood pressure. These things, too. And I believe that was from her mom's side. I have bad eyes, too. My Aunt Frances had bad eyes, and she had diabetes. Here's more.
I'm 9.
She is 9. Here's more of her transcript. Oh, and more.
Let me read it.
It's the same thing. Here's the voice. The voice she got. She got a C. She could sing like that, and she got a C. Can you imagine? Bless her heart. I thought she
August 1928.
1925. This is where the mother, Emma, the story is about the kids going in to the orphanage, okay, is that she couldn't afford to feed them. This was in 1925, Emma did not have an education. She couldn't teach. She also had 4 children at this point, and or maybe more. And she couldn't afford to feed her kids. And her first husband died. Her second one ran off. She didn't get much out of the will or out of the estate of the first husband. She gave some to her mom for taking care of Arnold. And I put my hand on her knee. She pushed me off. Anyway, sorry. Me and Katy horse around all the time. But anyway, she got to court for whatever reason, I don't know. I could order the papers, but they're like $600, and that's just pretty pricey. What's our saying, Katy?
Kobe?
No. What's our saying? Use it up, wear it out, or do without. Okay, I'm a Chevy girl, not a Mercedes-Benz or a Porsche or whatever. I'm a Chevy girl, and so I make do with what I've got. Well, anyway, the condition from the orphanage record said that my grandmother agreed for them to take the kids in to the orphanage as long as they stayed together and as long as they weren't lent out and as long as she could get them back when she got employment. Well, she ended up getting a job with 2 ranchers, the Andrew, who she married later, Andrew Shump, and she got that job, and she wrote the judge. She talked to the judge. She said, "I want my kids back." Well, by that time, Mama was already adopted. Mama was adopted by January 5th of 1925, and the orphanage wouldn't do it. They said because she was living with 2 single men.
Billy, stop being hungry.
Okay.
My belly's really hungry.
And this was, the judge wrote and even asked for him back, the original judge who had the kids taken.
My belly's really hungry. It's growling like a bear.
This is where Arnold, a relative got him back. I couldn't see who it was because it was redacted, but I believe it was his grandmother. In 1930, he was moving his way toward his mom, trying to get to her in Steamboat Springs.
Marriage report.
And he went back to Meeker, and him and Frances talked their whole lives. They ended up talking.
Marriage report.
This is where Emma married the Eugene Gillen. You can see he's 66, and she's actually like 22 there.
You can see on
women lie all the time about their ages.
You can see on her, it's highlighted 15th day of July
1918.
1918. So, take a look. Right there.
Good job, Katy. This is when she had his estate, her first husband's probated.
And this is the
trying
same
to get
thing.
some money. This is where
that's the same thing.
She married Edward Jesse.
Well, that's
Rice.
still the same thing.
That's a marriage record.
But still, that was another one too.
Okay.
And this is Certificate of Marriage.
A certificate of marriage. Good job.
I said Carol.
Give me 5.
I said Carol.
Well, all right, certificate. And you can see where Edward signed it. And this was his sister out in Oregon.
Rejection card.
And this is World War I enlistment card. Well, a draft card. And it shows where he lists his sister out in Oregon. And I found them on census records when they lived with their grandmother back in Colorado in 1900. And him and her were on there. This is where he signed her marriage certificate. So he left. He went to Oregon.
This is you have attached to family.
Yeah. Okay. This is the census 1930 where Perry's listed with Emma. And she's listed as a housekeeper on there. Her mom's living with her too because Oscar, her dad, had died by that time.
Steampunk Poet, December 20th, 1929.
This is when Perry's dad died, 1929.
And this is... let me read it.
This is the same thing.
Let me read it. Read it.
This is Perry's obituary.
Perry Cone.
Yeah. He changed his name to Cash at this point, but I have the census where he's named Perry Hawn Chase, and he lists next to kin as Ruth Chase, and I haven't figured that one out yet. And this is obituary.
Okay, this says divorce report.
Yes.
It's kind of blurry, but
This is where Emma divorces Edward, and the only child, if you look, is Emma Rice listed. The other children aren't listed as his child.
And this is the third one of the same thing, maybe.
This is where she marries the Andrew Shump.
And this.
Okay.
Let me read it.
Please don't do that.
It is the Miss Andra.
Boy, I like. And she comes to do music. I hate when people do that. But I guess she has a right. It's her family, too. This is where Emma's buried. I found it. And he married another Emma. Go figure. But I found that second marriage record, and I thought, well, my grandmother surely passed away, and I found her obituary and her where she's buried at. Don't have a tombstone. In Steamboat, and this says that where she was born, and she is survived by her husband, her mother, and several children by a former marriage. So we know that Perry was not Andrews.
This is May 31, 1956.
1956? 1936. This is where Emma's trying to get her child back, and this one too. She hired lawyers to try and get him back and talk to them. This is a letter Aunt Frances wrote to the orphanage asking about my mom. And this was a response. And you can tell.
This is August 10, 1964.
Okay, this was a response to her. This is where you could see, but you could see through it and see it says Mrs. David Mobley. And that's where you could tell that it was sent to Aunt Frances. Maps are very important in genealogy.
September 19th.
And this is 1964 where she tried to again find out where Mama was and Emma was.
A picture of when her mom was born.
Yes, this is a picture of where my mom was born up in Meeker, Colorado.
And this is...
Okay. All right. Let me go back. This is the adoption. In Colorado, in the state of Colorado, in the state of California, and I don't know about other states, you can request the original documents, and this was the adoption decree. And it shows my adoptive grandparents, and that's my grandma on there.
Yes.
Let me see. Wait a minute. T. Theodore. See, he didn't go by Grover ever.
Yes. Green.
Okay, and this is the original adoption decree, and it shows where Mama's name was June Eva Rice, because that was her legal father, and this is her parents, okay, and it shows where her name is changed to June Bell Lane.
Owie on my nose. Okay, state of Colorado.
Yep, that was the second part of the adoption decree.
State of Colorado. Again, stay on file. Christian fit. The report is not being used and I didn't even read the book.
Okay. This is her original birth certificate. Now, it throws more puzzles in it for me. One, and it also explains about the doctor. When Mom was looking for her family, she contacted them up in Meeker. She talked to the doctor who is still living. He said, I did not deliver a baby on that day. I didn't deliver a baby girl even in that month. And he said, I would have remembered you and I would have remembered your family. She also contacted orphanages. None of them knew anything. Well, it comes to find out that her grandmother delivered her because her name is right here, Mrs. Emma F. Brandt. That is her grandmother. It says where Mom was born. Now, number of children of this mother, 6. Number of the children of this mother living, 5. So there's a child that died somewhere, and there's a child that's missing somewhere. And we don't know if... Missing. We don't know if it was at Charlie with that on the restaurant, or if when the kids got taken to state custody, the dad's family got one of the kids. We don't know.
Or Robert took them.
So, and I could not find anywhere where the baby was buried. Anywhere. I looked at. Now, there's stories of Lime Kiln. There's story, which is up there, and stories of Meeker, and there was no baby born or died under the name of Rice or anything that we could find. Now, the lady did find a newspaper where a child was raffled off. I don't know if that was, I don't know. Anyway, it says on here that the father was James Service, and he was 20 years old, Emma was 26, and that mom was illegitimate. And it says that right here, under the illegitimate. That mom, okay, now, it happened to be by chance, I called, there was a James Service in Meeker, Colorado, and I called that number, and it was the original number. And I got a hold of my uncle, and he was so excited. He said that his father-in-law was considered the buck of the county, and young buck of the county before he married, and he was kind of wild, and they had heard stories about him. And I got a hold of my cousin Jolena, and who happens to have red hair the same color as my older children's hair. Also, my grandfather had dimples, had curly hair, brown green eyes like I do. And
Not green eyes.
This is him.
Colorado Department. See?
Mm-hmm. That was the original birth degree. Thank you, Katy. This was him. That was his mama's birth dad. And he was 20, and we found out that when mom was taken into custody, James was out of town in Oklahoma. They had a bootlegging thing going on, and his brother-in-law got charged with bootlegging. Now, this is some of his family. Okay, now if you look right here, okay, if you look right here, this lady is his sister, and my mama looks so much like her. It's unbelievable. This was his sister, and one of his sisters was named Eva, and that's my mom's middle name.
Excuse me.
And this,
I yawned and burped at the same time.
When they're little, and this is James right here when he is little, and his two sisters, Eva, and I've got the names of them. Anyway, this is them, okay, up there in Lime Kiln.
I yawned and burped at the same time.
Goodness. Okay.
State of Tennessee. Yep.
Now this is also my grandfather and his brother-in-law, who ended up getting in trouble with the law. And this is my grandfather. Now, my mom was fascinated with John Wayne and cowboys.
Who is this? The mom.
And let me tell you something. She could shoot. Now, you could tell he was a hunter.
Oh.
And he also was a cowboy. And this is my mom, again. And this is her story.
And this is my name first.
I hope y'all enjoyed this story.
Even though if it was a longer video than 22 minutes.
Yeah, it was longer than the other one. I've got to say this. I'm still looking, because I promised her. Mama does have a half-sibling still living. I've been in contact with him. He's James's son. And, matter of fact, he sent me a lot of the pictures. And so has Jelena. And you can find the birth family, but it will take a long and hard search. And you've got to find clues. You've got to put them together. This has been
Katy
Cooper and Ginger Hawn Cooper, the Determined Genealogist.
Bye.
Bye. And this lesson was on adoption.